What's going on, everyone? Gilman with the Wellthy Stocks back with our weekly Apple update video where we take a look at how this past week was for Apple, some key support and resistance levels that we are looking at moving into the future, and based on that, what we think Apple stock could do this week. Now, this upcoming week is a really big week for Apple. We're talking Apple stock at all-time highs, approaching earnings, and earnings that we are expecting to be a blowout, their highest earnings yet possibly. So we'll take a look at what we think the future of Apple stock could look like and kind of look at some things that are pointing us in that direction. So real quick, if you enjoy videos like this, hit that like button down below, subscribe to my channel if you are new, and comment down below what your thoughts on Apple are. And I'd love to chat with you guys down there. So let me hit record. We will get right into it. First, I want to cover kind of the quick recap of this past week. We'll take a look at an article that kind of talks about Morgan Stanley upgrading their price target on Apple and the reasons why, which I really agree with, and I've kind of said a lot of those. And then we'll kind of take a look at future levels of support and resistance. So wasting no time, let me hit the 5-day chart. And I know that this one transaction here and kind of the low 100s is really throwing off kind of the trajectory. So I'm going to just zoom in and try to get rid of this, and we'll kind of see the jump that it had. So if we take a look here, this was last Friday, so this was Monday, right? We started kind of 128s, went down, came up, did a whole lot of nothing. Tuesday's where this push really started. We went from the 128s, broke through our first level after hesitating a little bit, broke through our second level after hesitating, and then we're hitting up against the third level in the 132s. And then the next day, so I totally forgot that we were off this past Monday. So this was Tuesday where we did nothing, Wednesday where we had the first hike, Thursday where we had this really nice run. So we opened up above this 133 level that we had on the chart. We pushed up, we hesitated a little at our next level that we've had on the graph. And then we broke through that, making kind of hitting that 137.50s mark. And then Friday, we were expecting a little bit of a break. Right, maybe a little bit of consolidation, and as we saw, right, we did dip. So we closed in the 137s. We did dip right at the open to 135.02, found really good support as a baseline, and then pushed up from there. So we're at bounced off this level and then pushed up, made a new all-time high. And then in the after hours, which that wasn't there when I made the video on Friday, right, we pushed another $1.29. So Tuesday through Friday, we saw the run that we had all been waiting for. I had mentioned this over and over again. I think we see a run into earnings, but it seemed very hesitant with all the news that recently came out with big tech regulations, but we finally got that this week. So let's take a look at Morgan Stanley. What we see is, and if you guys want to read this article, feel free to search it. It's on Apple Insider. They raised their price target to $152, which is up from $144. And if we take a look at kind of all the multiples that they're using, EV sales multiples, enterprise value to free cash flow multiples, they're all relatively reasonable. And for a company the size of Apple, right, definitely good use of those multiples, right? So if you guys are interested, feel free to read this. But what I really want to cover is they're talking about their product and services portfolio and how they think that this is going to really outperform, which is something that I also have said over and over again. In terms of they're talking about revenue being 5% above Wall Street consensus. Morgan Stanley thinks it's going to be $1.50 rather than the $1.40 something that we're seeing in the Wall Street expectations. But more than that, right, more than anything is their iPhone 12 lineup, where they're talking it's been the most successful in the last 5 years. And not only that, right, we're talking increased sales of iPhones, yes, but more than that, we're talking is the increased sales of iPhone 12 Pros, iPhone 12 Pro Maxes, which increases the average sales price of an iPhone up, right? So they can sell 100,000 iPhones last year and 100,000 iPhones this year. And if last year's average price was like $700 and this year that average price goes up to like $770 or $780, because those iPhone 12 Pros and 12 Pro Maxes are really pulling the price up, that could be great for the stock as well. And then the other thing that I want to talk about is actually covering iPhone a little bit more, forecasting 78 million sales, which is up more than 6%. But the other thing that I want to talk about is the App Store has outperformed forecasts for a third consecutive quarter, growing 31% year over year in the December quarter, right? So that's insane, the app store growth we've seen, but also we're talking about new things like the Fitness Plus app that I think could be a game changer for Apple in the long term as well. So now moving into a little bit more of the stock itself and what it could bring. Remember, we've got 3 days left before earnings come up, so that's something to be kind of mindful of. We've talked about this earnings run happen, right, for a while, and we finally are seeing it happen. But what happens now? Now, I know a lot of you guys have mentioned this, and that I don't mention patterns enough, so I'll cover this really quickly as well. There was a cup and then the handle pattern forming that I was watching as well, and we were wondering, hey, is that a double top, which could be a bearish sign, or is that a cup and handle, which is generally a bullish sign for the stock? It was a cup and handle, as we saw. We're seeing the breakout that follows, right, with the bullish pattern, which could mean the stock could keep going up, right? So just wanted to quickly mention that I do, see those, and I try to point them out whenever I can, but wanted to cover that real quick. So going into the future, I do still think that, we have 3 days left in earnings, and I think that we keep going up. Now, I did say we take a little bit of a break on Friday, but what we saw was a quick dip to 135 and then a push up. So what does that mean for the future, right? That's kind of what we have to figure out. So we're at all-time highs, so there isn't necessarily a resistance for us to really, look forward to. Well, all we have is where price meets demand, where people are willing to pay for Apple, and where people holding Apple are willing to sell, where that kind of meet happens, right? So on the upside, initially had said 140 in the after hours, we are already at 140, right? We're at 140.36 after hours on Friday. So if we open up above the 140, then I think the next kind of mental resistance could be kind of by the dollar, 141, 142, but really it'll be probably at that 145 level, and then at the 150 level if we keep pushing up towards that level. If, we are above that, like I said, we could see a little bit of support come in at 140.30 or at 140, like flat 140, just as a mental support, excuse me. But if we break below that, right, I think what we see a little bit of a support in, if we go in the hourly chart, we'll kind of try to map this out for us, is kind of around this general area in the 138s. And the reason I'm saying that, right, is if we kind of scroll here and take a look at the stock on Friday, what we see is, a little bit of it taking a little bit of time at this level. But a bigger reason than that is because, we need to find a little bit of a support level between the two levels that we currently already have, right? So if we're talking opening in the 140s, our first level is at 136. As we saw here, right, we ended in 136.82. I said, hey, we could drop to this 136 level, but I think we keep dropping more because that isn't enough of a drop. And so we drop to 135, right? I think something similar happens here, where since we're above our level, we could drop to this 138.40s level, maybe a little bit lower, establish our footing, and then start to push up. That's if we open below 140. If we open above 140, 140 is the first level that I'm watching for support. So I know I said a lot there. Let me just quickly sum it up. On the upside, right, we don't have a resistance just yet. I do think that if we open above 140, every dollar could be a little bit of resistance. 145 could be a big one. 150 could be a big one. And on the support level, again, if we open above 140, watching for that 140 to see if it holds. If not, I could see us dropping to this 138.43 level that I have drawn on for us. Now, this level isn't perfect, right? It hasn't really been tested. So tomorrow will kind of tell us what that tested level is. If this doesn't hold, then 136.05 is what I'm watching next. Then we've got the low on Friday that we found support on in the 135s before dropping to 133. Personally speaking, I don't think that happens before earnings, right? Dropping all the way to 133. That being said, the amount we are up going from 128 to 138, a little bit of profit taking would not surprise me. It'll just be interesting to see how that plays out, right? Is it like Friday where we dip down a little bit, maybe go to 138, 137 if we break below 140 and then start to push back up? Or do we see a little bit of a slower kind of day and then we, start to maybe push up? That's kind of what I'm watching for. Again, I do think that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday before earnings, it continues to push up, potentially hitting mid 140s. If the momentum is there, maybe even hitting 150s, right? Who knows? But personally, I'm not expecting 150. I'm not saying that 150 is for sure going to happen. Now, if we push up another $3-4 on Monday, 144, we've still got 2 days of trading action, then it's a different story. But I'm not going to tell you guys all to buy calls and watch for that push to 150 because that's not something that I'm comfortable saying at this point, right? I currently continue to hold my Apple shares. I have one vertical put spread on. The calls that I had gotten in, I think on Wednesday or Thursday, I am out of as of Friday. Not because I chose to get out, right? I was away from my computer, as I mentioned on Friday, and it hit the target that I was looking at, so it exited automatically. I'm looking to play options again come Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday. So I'll keep you guys posted on that if I do take any new trades on. Again, expect it to continue pushing up, maybe a little bit of a pullback, and then kind of seeing where it establishes good support, right? I usually cover EMAs, but the first EMA that I look at, the 8 EMAs all the way down at 133. So I don't think that that is super helpful to us at this point, unless we see a $6 pullback, in which case I'm expecting that 133 level to hold up. And then if we take a look at the moving averages on the 4-hour chart, again, we've got the 20-day moving average coming, or the 20-period moving average also coming in right at 133, which is why I didn't really focus on those today. So yeah, I'm hoping for another, great couple of trading days for Apple. I know we've all been waiting for a while. We were holding strong, at least I was. I know a lot of us got frustrated and decided to kind of exit. But, hoping for another nice push up these next couple of days. As always, I'll keep you guys posted with daily videos. But yeah, let's see how Apple trades. Let me know down in the comment section what you guys think is coming this week. Earnings is going to be interesting. I think that, Netflix really set off this tear that these stocks have been on, these big tech stocks, by beating expectations, right? So Apple will be interesting to watch because if we see kind of a beat of earnings, right, it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out because last time Apple beat earnings last quarter, we still sold off after because we had gone up before it. So is it continuing a sell-off pattern? Is it a sell the news type of pattern, or do we see a little bit of a push higher? And that's going to determine, where Apple stock kind of establishes its base. So I'll keep you guys posted on that. It'll be interesting to see how this week plays out, like I've said over and over again. But if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and then subscribe to my channel as well. It really helps me out as I'm trying to grow. Let's remember to be a bit better every single day, and until next time.